Good. Oh, got Ron's information. I'm going to call the February 17th, 2026 St. Clair Shores City Council meeting to order. Amy, please call the roll.
Mayor Walby.
Here.
Councilmember Burgess.
Here.
Councilmember Karen.
Here.
Councilmember Frederick.
Present.
Councilmember Rebello.
Here.
Councilmember Rusi.
Here.
Councilmember Vitale.
Here.
A quorum is present.
Please rise for the pledge. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Item 2 is proclamations and presentations. We don't have any. Item 3 is audience participation on agenda items, a 2-minute time limit. Amy, do we have any?
Mayor, there is none.
Item 4 is the Maple Benjamin 2026 Canal Dredge consideration of necessity for the creation of a special assessment district for dredging and adopt a resolution to set a second public hearing. So 4A will be the public hearing. So I will open for any comments regarding the Maple Benjamin 2026 Canal dredging. Yes, ma'am. Come on up. Just, ma'am, if you come to the mic, and we just need your name and the city you reside in, and then.
Hi.
Hello.
I'm Judith Wallen. I live on Maple Street at 22507. I'm a 43-year resident of that canal, and I have some items I want to share with you as to why I oppose it.
Okay.
So can I come up and
Sure.
show them to you?
Yeah, well, you can.
I didn't know there were 7 people here, so.
Well, you can hand them to us and then go back, so I want everyone to hear it to TV. So hand it to us, and then we'll pass it down. You can start with Mr. Karen, and he'll slide the stuff.
Yeah,
and
you'll
then.
see the pictures that I recently took, and
Okay,
then,
bye-bye.
you know.
Yep. Well, ma'am, you want to tell us a little bit about why you're a no or anything else like that? Or right by if you would go in front of the mic would be great. Thank
The
you.
reason I'm opposed to this is the last time with this method, it took 2 years to complete it. They left spoilings in a parking lot, and it ended up costing an additional $10,000 to remove them. The dredge wasn't completed till August, and it only lasted 6 months. Now they're coming back wanting to use the same methods, which won't work. And now they want to do this and leave the spoilings in Dox's parking lot, having them charge $2,500 a month for storage. So, along with, they say that they're not going to completely agree that nothing will happen to the seawalls. I have there what it would cost to repair, so they're trying to gain an out by saying they can't 100%, that there will be no damage. And they want to go 5 feet forward. Well, as you can see, there's no water. No one's going to be able to dock their boats. So basically, that's what I have for you.
Okay. Did you want these back, or ma'am, did you want these back?
You can keep them or
Okay,
whatever.
and then we'll have the city clerk make a copy for us and get them to us, okay? So we'll.
And
Yes, ma'am.
in closing, we're
Yes.
paying a minimum of $800 for flood insurance.
Sure.
So we're paying that, and they want us to pay $3,200 for a method that didn't work the last time and
Okay.
won't again.
All right.
I respectfully present this to you for your consideration.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else that would like to speak? Yes, sir. You just need your name and the city you reside in, please.
My name is James DiStefano. I'm in St. Clair Shores. I live on Benjamin and towards Jefferson. I took my jet ski out at the end of October last year, and I was on land. I mean, I basically had to use my feet to get it out. And as I got to the end where the bay was, I was ankle deep pushing it out. Even if you did dredge this in the area that they want to do it and possibly be successful, you're still not getting into that bay, you're not getting anything out, and as the boats go by, they're gonna push things back into the canal just like they always did. without having the in and out that we've always had, that where they try to make that trench for props to get through, it's never going to work. I'm all the way at the end too, under where my hoist is it is land. There's not even water under my hoist. Now, into the canal, it might be a foot or two deep there, enough to probably back my boat out, but it's not getting all the way down. If this were, hey, hand us $3,000 and we're guaranteeing you this dredge will work and you'll get your use of the canal, I'd gladly do it. But they're asking us to gamble $3,000, and as my lady to my left here said, it didn't work last time. The previous year we tried to do it, it was about $2,000. Their equipment was in the middle. There were days we couldn't use our watercraft because it was there. Days it rains, which is good to bring the water level up. They're not working, so then they're working on the nice days, which are the days we want to get out. So there's a lot of reasons why I'm opposed to this, but the main was is it's just not guaranteed to work, and with the land down there, the proposed area, you can't dredge it. You can't. It wouldn't go.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Yes, sir. Your name and the city you reside in, please.
Matthew Rakuski, St. Clair Shores. I also live on Maple Street. Good evening, Mayor and Council. I am the Vice President of the Maple Benjamin Canal Association. I'm here on behalf of the association regarding the proposed special assessment district for the Maple Benjamin Canal Dredge Project. The purpose of this project is to restore navigability, improve water circulation, and maintain the long-term usability of the canal. And connected to Lake St. Clair's, the sediment accumulation has significantly reduced water depth and access to the affected properties. The association has followed the city's special assessment process and received support from more than 2/3 of the affected property owners, exceeding the threshold required by the city ordinance. This request tonight is limited to the establishment of the special assessment district, so the project may continue through the remaining review and approval process. Happy to answer any questions.
Okay, all right. Thank you. That's it for the public hearing. Anyone else before I close the public hearing? Anyone else that want to speak? Anyone? Close the public hearing, and we'll go to 4B, which is the adoption of the resolution to create the special assessment district and to set public hearing on March 16th, 2026 to review the assessment roll, hear objections, and confirm the roll. Mr. Vitale.
Perhaps this is a question that could be answered by our city attorney. I've certainly heard you folks who've spoken in objection. I do think you make some good points. Even the idea that we're going to store the spoils at Doc's parking lot. How can we do that? They have to have a certain number of parking spaces for their certificate of occupancy, don't they?
Well, I think it's the one which would be north of the one that they just paved.
Okay.
And they did that
North of the
before.
cleaners.
Pardon me?
Okay.
North of the cleaners.
Well, I know
North of the cleaners,
yeah,
right?
I
So
know
on
they
each
did
side.
it last time.
Yes.
I know they did it last time. But, and I remember there were problems with how long it sat there, and we had complaints on odors and things like that. So I do find legitimacy in a lot of what you're saying. However, our role here, my understanding is that we are merely certifying that 2/3 of the residents of that street have voted favorably. And I suppose we could ask the question if there were any irregularities there. Are they required to have meetings, Mr. Erie, association meetings, a public meeting, anything like that?
Not according to our ordinance, no.
Okay, and that would be part of their bylaws anyways for their own group.
That's correct. That would
So
be
I
their-
guess what I'm saying is I've heard what you're saying, and I think there's some legitimacy, I think, in what you're saying. But the place to make that argument was probably to your neighbors before they voted. Because,
No, public hearing is closed, ma'am.
Yeah, because at this point, we're just making sure there's no irregularity with the voting, and there's nothing to make me think there is. So I'm going to have to vote in favor of it. And maybe for other people watching who will get canals dredged, the time to make those arguments is before it comes to us. We're just sort of a certifying body on this, is my understanding.
Correct.
So,
Anyone else? Ms. Rusi?
Thank you. Can I ask a question to the association rep?
Sure.
Okay, thank you. Hi, as we heard tonight, and even prior to the meeting, I've had a few residents express to me some apprehensions, given how recently this had been done and the experiences with the dredging at that time. What would be your response to those concerns or apprehensions about this?
I got it. Thanks. Yeah, so the dredge is supposed to they're supposed to be done every like 5 years. This is only going to be, here, I have the exact number, the third time in 15. So there's been a buildup, and so it needs to be done. And the contractor that did it last time, that finished it, actually had to take over from the previous contractor because he didn't do the job right. And so this new contractor is actually the one completing it, and he's actually been responsible for doing canal maintenance with the Fermi plant. So he's well qualified.
So is this just a follow-up to what was done previously? This is a new dredging, it's a continuation or completion of the previous one?
It's the continuation of the 2022 certification.
Thank you.
Mr. Rubin?
Oh, just a point about the certificate. I was
Yes.
done questioning
I
the
thought-
association, but we also have a special assessment certificate in the packet. This is still reflective of February 2nd, so it would need to be updated till tonight's meeting before it's signed by Vicky,
Sure.
if it goes forward.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Rebello?
So what was your name?
Matthew,
Matthew?
yes.
Okay. So obviously you got the 2/3, okay,
Yes.
which is really what we get to go off of, okay? So say, for instance, you get out there, when is this planned for? When do you want to start this, if you were to get it?
1 second. Anticipated window is spring 2026, pending final approvals. It's expected to take several weeks.
So what if you get out there in spring 2026 and you go, well, doesn't look like these folks might be right. You can't get a boat in or out of there. I mean, I take it that 2.5-foot draws, 3-foot draws on your boats that come in and out, so what it is?
I can't speak for other people's boats, but the assessment of continuation would be based on the contractor.
Okay, so say, for instance, you have to go deeper, okay, in order to get boats in and out. Then what would be your plan? You know, you have a certain figure here. What would be your plan if this plan still doesn't allow the boats to come in and out? Because I really don't know what the weather's going to be as far as the tides and how deep your canal's going to be.
I can't speak to what may happen, but the plan is specifics of what we're planning on doing, and any other things would have to be reassessed at that point, yes.
Okay, so if your plan tonight doesn't work, you're going to have to come back and go, we got to go deeper, and this is going to cost more money. And then you have to redo all this stuff, correct?
This would start over, yes.
Yeah, okay. So, like Mr. Vitale said, we're just going off of if you got enough votes or not. So, I understand completely what you're talking about. I would have the same, thoughts going through my head. Is this navigable or not? Just like the one that's in the center of the Benjamin Canal, right? You can't get in or out of there. So, there's nothing really that this body can stop as far as Mr. Erie?
That's correct, and recall.
He's the city attorney.
Recall also that the purpose of dredging is not necessarily solely for navigability. It is also meant for cleaning and allowing free flow of water.
Okay, so if this plan doesn't work, you're going to have to come before us again. You're going to go through all this again as far as getting your 2/3 from the neighborhood and so forth, correct? So, okay, with that, and Chris was right, Mr. Vitale was right, that was something that needs to be done, on foot, house to house. So if this doesn't work out, this plan, if I'm you, I go house to house and see what they say. This is one of those things, it seems to me, that when you're living on the water, when you're living on canals, it's just one of those things that pop up, and there's extra costs involved with living down there, unfortunately. So with that, I will make a motion to adopt a resolution creating the Special Assessment District Maple Benjamin Canal Association 2026 canal dredging and adoption of resolution setting a public hearing for, is that right, March 16th?
Yes.
Is that correct?
That's correct.
To review the assessment roll, hear objections to the roll, and confirm the special assessment roll. So
Moved by Councilman Rubello,
we'll revisit it again.
Support.
supported by Councilman Karen. Mr. Frederick.
Thanks, Mayor. I just had a question for our city attorney. What is the downside of them not doing it? Is there a chance that that land could be reclaimed in some way by, I know we had that problem.
Eagle.
Yeah, by Eagle, where they said it's no longer a canal. Is that a possibility with with no water in the canal?
I don't think I have sufficient data or understanding
Okay.
to answer that question
All
right
right.
now.
I know we had that problem
risk,
with the center, we had that problem in the center Benjamin
Yes.
Canal. So I guess, it's, you have canal front property, it could be trouble, I don't know, but, all right, I know that's not our place, I just wanted to bring that up so somebody could look into that maybe. Thank you.
Moved by Councilman Rebel, supported by Councilman Karen. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? 7-0. It passes to move forward to adopt for the public hearing for March 16th, 2026. Thank you. Item 5 will come back at another meeting. 6 is bids, contracts, purchase orders, request to award the bridge repairs project. City Engineer Mike Freckleton.
Good evening, council.
Good evening.
Looking to award the bridge maintenance program contract. We've been, starting to annually set aside money in both major and our local streets accounts for bridge repairs. We have 4 bridges in the city that we maintain. We have the bridge at Rosedale over the Milk River, Jefferson Ave over the Milk River, and then the Lang Street and Beach Street canal bridges. We put this project out to bid, opened it on February 3rd. We had Ram Construction Services come in as the low bidder. I have not personally worked with them, but our consulting firm we were using has worked with them on various projects, just various like structural, rehabilitation projects. So we believe that they could do a good job in getting these bridge repairs done. They would like to start in mid-April, hopefully be wrapped up by mid-June. And, we can get some needed repairs done, especially to the bridge on Jefferson over the Milk River. We got some good amount of repairs that we need to do for that.
So again, you already said you had 4 bids.
Yes.
Again, AEW has approved Ram Construction, and the only reason is it's a pretty sizable gap between, 1 and 4. And so,
Absolutely.
that sometimes is a concern. Even, it's even not that small between 1 and 2, actually.
It's almost
a pretty sizable number,
$100,000,
too.
yeah.
But they've assured us they've dealt with Ram and feel good about it.
Yes.
Okay. Question. Ms. Rusi.
Thank you. Can you talk a little bit about the type of repair work or maintenance work that will be done on each of the 4 bridges?
Sure. So it kind of varies from, superstructure, substructure, scour repairs. So a lot of, just kind of street, like the surface work, some of the pavement, some exposed rebar that needs to be, fixed and paved over, expansion joints that need to be, repaired and resealed. Again, some of the substructure concrete that could be cracking or scaling or chipping away needs to be repaired. And then with the bigger bridges like the Jefferson one or the Rosedale one, we want to look down into like the area where it's in the water and make sure that we're not getting, like erosion from, water scour and things like that. So make sure that everything down there is all shored up nicely and we're not getting damage or erosion or anything from that.
Okay, and will this work impact traffic or the ability, it will, won't it?
Yeah, we won't ever do like full closures or anything. It'll be, people will be able to access it, but yeah,
Like
especially
partial
on.
closures, like half of it, and, okay, so.
Especially on Jefferson, I'd say that would have the most impact.
Okay,
probably lane by lane closures as needed,
Well,
yes.
this is definitely unnecessary work. I've been up here for a while, and this is, I think, one of the first ones I remember where we're really targeting the maintenance and repair of all the bridges at once in this type of program, and I think this is necessary, so I would move to approve.
Good, thank you.
Support.
Moved by Ms. Rusi, supported by Mr. Frederick. Mr. Raballo.
Thank you, Mayor. Yeah, you brought up the one thing I was gonna, that concerned me with the bids, but it sounds good. Mike, how often do we do these? Every 2 years?
So every 2 years, we're required by the state to do inspections of our bridges and report the results of those. So this last, it would have been 2025 was our, biennial bridge inspection. So we submitted those to the state, got the results, and, kind of
Okay.
came up with our repair
You-
and maintenance plan, and then we're, trying to get that done now, so.
You just, I guess, answered my question. It's state required every 2 years, because I was thinking, well, the bridges and stuff, what if we did them every 3 years? But that would be against state law.
Yes, for the inspections, we have to do them every 2 years.
Just sort of spread it out a little bit more. And we just did, is it Shorewood? What bridge did we do? Was that last year? We did Shorewood Bridge?
Yeah,
That was
I thought we
short.
did, didn't? Yes, we did, yes. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, because
So we
remember the
like-
pipes were on top.
Yes.
So we would have to do, we'd have to inspect Shorewood Bridge again, we'll say next year, if we did it last year?
Yes. So the Shorewood Bridge, I'm a little unfamiliar with. I mean, I know that these four are the ones that we're in particular in charge of in terms of our local and major road network. So I guess.
Shorewood may be considered a culvert.
Okay, it could have been that, yes. It could have been a culvert then.
Okay, so that's what kept it out of this group, we'll say.
Yeah.
All right, thank you.
Moved by Ms. Rusi, supported by Mr. Frederick, to award the 2026 Bridge Maintenance Program contract to Ram Construction Services in the amount of $263,886. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? 7-0. Thank you. 6B is a request to award the alley reconstruction project. Mike?
So for our annual alleys project that we, really started to get into last year, where we did the, alleys on the west side of Harper from Ardmore to Centennial and Sunnydale to Ardmore. This is just continuing that based on a priority list that was set by city council back in 2022 and just, kind of continuously reviewed for results. We are looking to award kind of a two fiscal year program here with the alleys that we are looking to tackle in fiscal year 26, and then the alley that we're looking to tackle in fiscal year 27. And for, competitive pricing and, kind of motivation for the contractor to perform work in a more timely manner, we wanted to expand the scope like that. So for our FY26, we're looking to do alleys on the west side of Harper from Alexander to Urban and from Decker to 12 Mile, on the east side of Harper from Englehart to Edgewood, and on the east side of Little Mac from Maple to Crowley. And then for FY27, we're looking to do the large alley on the west side of Harper from Manhattan to 10 Mile. All of these alleys have very poor pavement conditions, very, very poor, if, any actual drainage to them right now. The one from Manhattan to 10 Mile in particular is a major thoroughfare alley that would get a lot of, delivery traffic, cut-through traffic, just access to the business traffic. So that one is definitely a priority and why it is a standalone alley in the next year. The 4 for fiscal year 26, again, same thing, just poor pavement conditions, poor drainage. Businesses need to use them for access or parking or what have you, or deliveries. So we put out 2 alternative bids, one for asphalt and one for concrete. And we had a pretty substantial price difference between the two, with our asphalt low bid coming in about $117,000 cheaper than our concrete low bid. Our concrete contractor, who's a low bid, Luigi Ferdinandi, obviously we work with him a lot in the city. They do very good work. We know what to expect from them. We know we can trust them. The asphalt contractor, ASI, Asphalt Services Incorporated, I've personally done work with them before out in Novi and other communities out that way. They do a lot of parking lots and alleys and kind of the more niche, smaller projects like that. I know we're a pretty primarily concrete city, and so I truthfully think that either way we go with this, we can't go wrong. Being, reconstructions, the HMA result will be very similar to the concrete result in terms of lifespan and everything. The asphalt may be a little bit easier to maintain if needed in the future, so you kind of trade that off with the concrete, maybe lasting, a few years longer. So, with that, again, either ASI for asphalt or Luigi Ferdinandi for concrete is I think we should award this program to.
And just to confirm, right, these alleys are city-owned, right? These are
The
alleys that the
alleys are
city is
city-owned.
responsible, right? These are
Yes.
not alleys that businesses are not owning them. These alleys are owned by the city.
Correct.
Mr. Lent, just
Yep.
to.
And just a small, quick clarification too, for the east side of Harper, from the Englehart to Edgewood, that one is part private, part our own, so it doesn't go completely from Englewood to Edgewood. It actually goes just from the back of half of that business. So we do have a lot of alleys that are half owned by us and half owned by the business, but this is our portion that we'll be repaving.
Mr. Rubello.
Yeah, thanks for clearing that up, Dustin, because I looked at that one. I go, that half doesn't seem so bad, and that other one was shot. And Mike, of course, I went through a lot of these, and all of them actually, and these are shot. I know there's other ones. There's one on, that passes between Lakeland and Madison that I don't know, over the, I guess, tough winter, it's disintegrated, much like what happened on Jefferson, on the north end of Jefferson, and it's almost unpassable right now. But hopefully we can get to that at some point, down the road. Maybe if there's something left over, and we can do something with that this year too, because that was to me sort of a poster child of what we're talking about. I've always sort of realized, just because of the type of job I had, retired, that I would use the alleys a lot, and I've always joked I've had lunch in every single alley here in the shores. Okay, park back there. So I'm glad we're doing this, and again, I want to emphasize myself that what we're doing out here, this is not for businesses. This is not for landlords.
Correct.
These are St. Clair Shores owned.
They're St. Clair Shores owned property with our utilities and other things running through it, so it benefits the city to have good and quality access to these areas. Now, while the adjacent businesses may utilize them and benefit from that as well, like you said, that is not the direct intention of any of that. We're also trying to, the point of the city's alleys is actually to try to take some water and other, water drainage away from those business properties and convey them and keep them on our property, as opposed to, overloading the private systems or, flooding anybody out there.
Right.
So when the alleys are in disrepair, it is a disadvantage to some of those businesses.
And to take a page out of Councilman Vitale's book, this is going to make it look just darn nicer back there too.
Absolutely.
So it's a good aesthetics
because
for the
cleaning
city.
everything up, if it's overgrown, we
agree.
get rid of that, yeah.
I guess the other thing I wanted to ask about is we were talking about the asphalt versus the cement. The cement is going to give us more life, so we won't have to come back and do this stuff in a quicker time.
I mean, theoretically, yes, concrete does have, I would say, maybe a 5 more year service life than asphalt does on a reconstruction project like that. The advantage to asphalt generally, like when it comes to roads, is that it can be, you can do smaller rehabilitation, quicker repairs that, may not last as long, but, again, are cheaper. With a full reconstruction like we're doing with these, where we're tackling the base, we're tackling the drainage issues, you do get relatively similar life out of the pavements. And again, I'm generally all for concrete over asphalt, especially with roads and, more higher volume traffic areas. With something like an alley, though, especially doing the reconstruction, I think that, you're getting a similar product no matter what material you go for. And I do think the asphalt, you can do some more maintenance that would be better than concrete. Like, you can crack seal if you see it. You can do like a chip seal, which is kind of like a binder and like stone if it does start to get bad down the line, and that's a relatively cheap
Mike, the
fix.
2027 project, that's a pretty big one.
Yeah.
That's big. But that is totally shot.
Yes,
Okay.
absolutely.
I won't use the word embarrassing because I don't know of a better word, so I guess I will, to have that as a city-owned
Sure.
a piece of property, I guess, if you want to call it. So I'm in favor of using the cement, and please keep in mind that portion that travels from Lakeland to Madison, that cuts, I guess, behind the Dairy Queen.
Yep.
Please keep that on your radar, because that's
Yep.
hideous.
I've been by there recently, too, over the weekend. You are correct. It disintegrated.
Yeah, we would. That would be our next alley on the list to do, just from the condition of that and everything. So it is right there.
All right, so since I was a big proponent of doing these alleys, and I have been for a very, very long time, I will move to award the 2026 Alley Maintenance Program contract to ASI for HMA pavement in the amount of $572,748.
No.
You wanted the concrete, not
That's
the
the
asphalt.
asphalt, Dave.
It's Dave.
There's two competing
Yeah,
motions.
Okay,
we'll get. Hold it,
okay, go ahead.
Councilman. You're looking at the $700,811
Oh, yeah.
one. So you would award it to Louis Fernandez for the concrete payment in the amount of $700,811.
I said 572.
I know.
And you said the wrong name, too.
Okay.
So, correct, that's Louis Fernandez, $700,811, right, Councilman Rebello?
That's my motion.
Makes that motion,
I'll support that.
supported by Mr. Frederick. Mr. Kearing.
Thank you. I agree with going with the concrete, but also just in terms of the price difference, one thing to note, ASI, they were involved in a bid rigging issue back in 2013, 2021. They pled guilty to that in 2024. Apparently they claim they've changed, but I think that should have been pointed out in the memo, because I recognize the name, and I remember those stories being out there and how many different cities that they were involved with that in.
Sure.
And that, so to me, that would have disqualified them. And so going to the next contractor, it's only like $37,000 more, Guild Concrete versus asphalt. So that's all. Thank you.
Ms. Burgess.
I did some of my own checking, and I come up with concrete will give us 25 to 35 years, where asphalt is 15 to 20. I know it's alleys, so it might be a little different, but I think that going with the concrete's gonna, even though its upfront cost is more, I think we're gonna save. You did say that asphalt, you can go in there and you can do patching, but I feel like if we go with the cement, the concrete, we won't have as many problems with that, because it's gonna last a little bit longer. While the concrete may be higher upfront, it's gonna reduce lifespan, replacement and maintenance. And so I agree with Councilman Rebello and with Karen that we should be going with concrete.
Mr. Vitale.
Well, I'll make 2 points here. First of all, I also agree with the concrete. The difference is $117,000, which is a substantial amount of money, but it's not enough to do another alley. So putting that money back in doesn't necessarily get us any further along in the project. And there's a lot of things you can do now with concrete that weren't being done 30 years ago. I don't remember people doing as much saw cutting and things like that. So there are maintenance that you can keep up on. I don't want to task a future council with alley maintenance program where they have to go around and chip seal because, you know, God knows what the price of asphalt's going to be in 10 years. So I'm going to be for concrete, but the other item I had was Mr. Lent mentioned a portion of this that is privately owned. Now, I don't know the condition of that privately owned piece of concrete, but could we ethically, legally, I would think that we could extend an offer of our contractor pricing if they wanted to redo their portion of the alley?
Their portion has actually been recently done, probably within the last 3 to 4 years. It's all
Okay.
concrete and
All
it's a
right.
parking lot and it doesn't even go straight through.
Okay, well,
Yeah,
that
it is a
makes
bit of a
sense.
jog, but I mean,
jog, yeah.
that is something that business owners have, and I mean, or residents or anyone are, you know, kind of encouraged to do when we do have work going out there. They are able to go speak to the contractor and say, hey, you guys are out here, what would it cost to do this private work?
Well, I
So-
meant officially, not just asking the guy pouring the cement.
Sure.
But, so anyways, it sounds like that's a moot point anyway, so I'm going to be a yes vote.
Ms. Rusi?
Thank you. I just want to thank administration for putting 2 options out there and bringing them to us. I appreciate having the ability to have these type of discussions rather than just administration picking one or the other for us and just putting that out to bid and presenting that to us. So I really do appreciate how this was handled, giving us the options so we can have these type of discussions. And I'm fine with going forward with the concrete too. And I thank Councilman Karen for the detective work. I appreciate that too.
Moved by Mr. Rebello, supported by Mr. Frederick to award the 2026 alley maintenance program to Louis Fernandez Concrete in the amount of $700,811. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed, 7-0. And again, Mr. Lent, just in case we end up with some money here or squirrel, keep an eye on for this Madison Lakeland. It is a bad, yes, it is really bad, and maybe we'll end up not spending all our contingency and we can evaluate something. So.
For sure. I was actually going to ask again what street he said, but then he corrected himself. We've actually had a few calls for that alley as well.
You have? Okay.
And when we got the calls, I had Mike look up into our list, and it actually is, at the time, it was number 7, but once all of these get done, it'll actually be number 1 or number 2 now on the list. So it actually was already documented. The winner did do a pretty rough shot on it, but it is on there for sure.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
6C is request to award the fiscal year 26 sanitary sewer CCTV project. Mr. Freckleton.
All right, last one. Our CCTV project for sanitary sewer, it's, you know, cleaning, televising our, you know, sanitary sewer lines in, you know, a given district or area that we do every year, so we can follow behind that with our lining project based on our results. So this year, we're looking to be in, you know, combination of District 6 and 7. So District 6 is 11 mile to 12 mile, city limit to city limit, and 12 mile to Masonic, you know, east to west limit as well. So after putting this out to bid, we had Advanced Rehabilitation Technology come in as our low bidder. We have never directly worked with ART. However, ART is usually hired as a subcontractor by a lot of these other cleaning or lining or root treatment companies to do their the videos prior to their work. So mostly with the lining companies. So they, you know, we've seen the product that they put out. It is, you know, it's a good product, and we think that we can trust them to be the head contractor on our, you know, TV and cleaning project for this year.
So when you, because we had 9 bidders.
Yes.
So when you said the advanced rehab tech, you've seen that, you mean we hired someone else and they did the work? Is that what you mean?
Sorry, I more so meant, with the lining project, before a company lines the sewer, you know, we do like a pre-existing video
Yes.
and then a post video
Yes.
of the sewer. So usually whatever lining contractor, they would hire ART to do the video parts, and then, you know, that contractor would do the actual lining. So, yeah, it's however they kind of decide to run that there, but
Okay.
point is that we've seen their product before and are at least familiar with it, so.
Okay. Mr. Karen?
Thank you. So if they've done the camera work before, but what about the cleaning part?
Yeah.
Generally, those go hand in hand. To get a good quality, you know, televising product, you have to clean first. So it's just, you know, a water jet and a vac that go behind it. They have, I mean, they have the equipment to do that. So that's pretty straightforward. Nothing to worry about there.
Okay, do you know what type of quality of video they provide? What type of cameras?
I don't know what units specifically they're using. I can find that out and let you know if that's
Okay.
something that you would like to know.
Well, because basically it's like where that industry is going, right? You can get high-def cameras far better than what they've had before, right? And they're typically on some contraption that can crawl its way through the pipe, right?
Usually it's a little rover that crawls
And the
itself
better
through.
resolution you have, the better you can see defects. Because
Absolutely.
afterwards, someone has to go through and look at the video, and assuming this go through AEW, to review the video to look for defects and document?
Correct.
Okay. So basically, the better quality video, obviously, you're going to be to see the defects.
Yeah, 100%.
So then, on that as well, another reason why having high-quality video, the other thing the industry is into now is, you know, for example, a company called Sewer AI, where no longer a person actually having to go through all the video footage. You can actually upload to them, their algorithm will go through it and provide all the reports. You know, as a county, we're saving $1 million a year by doing that. Rather than paying someone to actually watch video all day, that AI companies can now do that. So we started to investigate that. Because not only could it be with
absolutely
this
can.
year, but you can also upload past videos as well and have all that documented. And then to get, you know, basically a very unbiased, data-driven report out of it.
We can absolutely look into that. I like using AI and things like that for inspections and, you know, results and asset management. So I think that would be great. And if you guys have been using it at the county and you feel that it's been yielding good results, then, you know, I mean, then that would be good for me. I guess some of the problems with the early stages of some of those AI programs is just you know, the AI's knowledge itself, right?
Right.
Its consistency.
It's a learning algorithm.
Yeah.
Right.
So, I mean, if you guys have been seeing good results, I'd be happy to look into that.
Yeah, like, you know, to take the data from this and maybe use that as a pilot, to start working that out with them. So then we can get into whether uploading past videos and that, it basically very quickly gets the whole process done and understood and really highlights where the big defects are to drive the future improvement projects that we still need to do, the lining repairs
Absolutely.
that come down the line. Okay, thank you.
Would you mind sending me some information
I will.
from them? Thank you.
Ms. Rusi?
Thank you. I was excited to see we got nine bids on this. That's a successful outing, so it's nice that there's a lot of competition out there. I know we haven't used ART before. The AEW letter says they've successfully completed similar projects in Battle Creek and in Ohio. They performed CCTV work for the line contractors through our office, so AEW's office in Clinton Township, Sterling Heights. Mount Clemens have the necessary personnel and equipment to perform this work. I would assume we also, I mean, this indicates that the references were checked, correct, that they
Yes.
provided. So everything checked out, that they were satisfied with the performance on those projects.
That is correct.
Okay, and this is a one-year contract, correct?
Yes.
So that will allow you time to, I think, you know, I'm intrigued by Councilman Kieran's suggestion, you know, get with the county, see what they're doing, and maybe we could take a different approach next year if it pans out, but I would move to approve for the 2026 contracts for this year.
Support.
Moved by Councilwoman Rusi and supported by Councilman Rebello. Mr. Vitale.
Yeah, first, just to start out with a statement for the residents at home, we talk about District 6 and District 7, so that would be St. Margaret Street from Masonic down to 13, all of Tangletown streets, and then District 7 being streets like Violet, Raymond, Hoffman, and that would be from what, Greater Mac to,
I think 12 mile to Masonic, Greater
12.
Mac to Jefferson.
Greater Mac to Jefferson for that second neighborhood that I named. Just so you have some idea of where it's going to be in the city. I can't obviously name off every street.
Sure, yeah.
But in the past, when we've done this, I think we've talked about that when we have the accuracy that when we pass an address, we know which person's house that is in terms of sanitary sewer.
We can kind of backtrack on that, given, the manhole that we start at, whatever stationing that is, and, if we see a lateral and, hey, it's 150 feet down, we can kind of reasonably pinpoint which house that lateral would likely service, yes.
I know we've talked about that before, to basically, if we see a root problem out of a particular sewer, to contact that resident and make them aware. Will we be able to do that?
I don't see why not. I can get with DPW and AEW, and we can discuss that, and just that way, yeah, you hand out notices to people.
I mean, really, it
That's a good idea.
benefits us if they replace their sewer line, because
Sure.
then it's not growing into our sewer. And, I guess I would want to know if there was a problem with my sewer line. I'd rather know sooner than later.
Yeah. That'd be a nice courtesy as well. Just, hey,
So
the
if
city
that's
did this work.
possible, it would be great if we could do that.
Yeah, we can,
Okay.
yeah, I will bring that up.
Mr. Frederick?
Thanks, Mayor. So,
Well, I just was one more thing I was going to say.
I'm sorry.
I don't know if we do that with a door hanger or a letter or something. but
We can-
maybe-
I think it'd be a letter.
Yeah, it would
Should
probably
we
be a
letter?
maybe
note,
get a copy?
probably a
Could
letter.
council-
Or with letters.
Yeah, I think we have done it before.
We have.
so
Yeah,
photo.
so could council get a copy of whatever letter goes out?
Yeah,
So to
absolutely.
answer that, we actually do, what we do is we check to see, obviously, we're just on our line, but we can see if theirs are off-centered, if it's not
Yes, I
connected.
remember that too, yeah.
If there's stuff, that's when we'll send them, and we actually do send them an actual photo of the camera,
Okay.
picture that was in there, with a letter that comes from the DPW, or it comes from the company, correct? Yeah, it comes from AEW, but we actually send the picture as well, saying that your lead is off. Now, we don't get to see anything of their sewer, we can just tell it's not
they
connected.
just where it meets up,
Yep.
yeah.
And
And,
we
you know,
can
and
tell.
if there's big roots hanging out of it, we can
Yeah,
generally
if there's an
figure
issue
it's in
like
their
right
sewer.
at the tap there.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Excellent.
Mr. Frederick?
Thanks, Mayor. So, Mike, how long does it take us to go through the entire city with this type of program?
7 to 8 years.
7, 8 years? And I know that, we always propose that this is a money saver in the long run, right? And do we have any idea of how much we've, I know that's a hard number to figure out, but if, any clue as to how we used to have collapses and have to go back in and do things that you couldn't do?
I do not know that number
Okay,
right
all
now. I could get that to you.
All right, so, and I'm glad John brought up AI. That's been bugging me for a while to try and figure out how we can incorporate that. And it's even bigger than just looking at the pipe and seeing, okay, yeah, there's a crack or something. To take a card out of what Mr. Vitale said and what John said, is that if we're going through a pipe and we're taking a video and we know what house that is and we see roots, we can then coordinate it with, oh my God, there's a silver maple there. And as, we talked about this kind of stuff at our study session. Maybe that coordination through AI, right, could help us determine maybe that tree shouldn't be there.
Yeah, just data logging, having that information just on hand that we can, have there.
A
Yeah.
modern line would keep the roots out.
Well, you would think.
No, it would.
You would think.
It would.
But so that we can figure out how this all sort of goes together and get a better picture. Brian, what,
Yeah, no, the savings is definitely, if we're able to keep up on the maintenance of these sewers, then it prevents, problems. These are public, open sewers. We can't control what people put into them, specifically grease, things like that.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure.
And if you keep up on the maintenance and the cleaning and the repairs, it's gonna prevent a lot of backups. And so it's very important for us to do. So we stick with that industry standard, of 7, 8 years, right in that window.
Excellent. Do we need a motion? Or?
Yes, we have one.
Okay.
We already have one
All right.
by Ms. Rusi and Mr. Rebello, but we have a question by Ms. Burgess.
Yeah, I just wanted to know, so we have a formal rotation schedule for this. Is there higher risk areas that we can maybe do it more frequently, just so that we don't have problems?
Yeah,
And that's what we-
Yeah, so what, just and correct me, Brian, or Mike, so we have different districts. We do each district each year, but then we also have hot spots where we know we have a lot of areas where we have a lot of problems in that area. So we will go back and we clean those hot spots without on a camera, knowing that we have a lot of root problems or a lot of issues. So Brian has a lot of those hot spot areas listed, and we make sure we hit those outside of this system too. But if we find an area that continues to keep having problems, Brian document it, we document any kind of floods and all that kind of stuff. But as council is well aware, I mean, these floods are also hard to completely gauge because like earlier last year, we had our 12-mile area just got hammered, and 9 to 10 mile barely got any, got some rain, but nothing like 12. So it's not like when the rain hits St. Clair Shores, it hits it all in the same area. But we do document all of our hot spots.
And did we use a different contractor last year then? I mean,
Duke's, it was Duke's root control got the
okay,
project
so
last year.
how's the cost compared to what we've been,
It's about the same. Maybe this was a little bit cheaper than what we would normally see, but yeah, we generally hover around the same general pricing for this kind of work.
and that comes out of the sewer fund?
Yes.
Thank you.
Moved by Ms. Rusi, supported by Mr. Rebello to award the fiscal year 26 sanitary sewer CCTV project to Advanced Rehabilitation Technology in the amount of $308,000. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed, 7-0. Mike, thank you. Have a good evening.
Thank you. You as well.
6D, request the award to the Water Department for Commercial Cross Connection Inspection Project. Brian Babcock, DPW Director.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. This first item, this is for a commercial cross-connection inspection project, which is actually, it's mandated by the state that we have this program and conduct these inspections every year, but this is one of those mandates that, we should all be happy about because it's really, it's all about protecting the water quality within the city. Essentially, what this does is it requires that commercial businesses either be categorized as high hazard or low hazard. High hazards have to be inspected every year. Low hazards have to be inspected once every 5 years. But what this does is we'll go out, for an example, we'll go out to a fast food establishment, and they have to have a backflow device in their building that only allows water to come into their building. So let's say we have a break outside of one of those restaurants, and there's a back pressure suction trying to pull water from these businesses. We're not going to get a stream of Dr. Pepper pulled back into the water main system in the city. That backflow device stops that from going in reverse. So that's what this is all about. This company, the one bidder that we had, there used to be two. There was one from up north that would bid on our projects. And they have not been doing that. So the local company that does these inspections, they were the sole bidder on this project. We've been very happy with them. They work very well with our businesses, and we'd recommend moving forward with them on a 5-year project.
Questions? Ms. Burgess.
What is the compliance inspection? Because that jumps up on the 5th year.
The compliance inspection is if there is a problem that they find, they tell the business owner, for example, on your faucet, you can't have a hose going from your slop sink sitting into a bucket full of soap. They'll say, well, you have so many days to fix that problem, and then we come back and do a compliance inspection. And in the first 4 years, they know typically how many compliance inspections they're gonna have to do because they do so many of these. So they have that cost just built into the initial inspection fee. And then for whatever reason, at the last year, they broke out the compliance inspection as an additional fee.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Mr. Rebello.
Brian, okay, so you said nothing can go,
Put your mic on, please.
nothing can go back out from the system, back out from where does it, Where is the, as you use, Dr. Pepper?
There's a mechanical device built into the plumbing systems in these buildings. So we go into those buildings with these inspections, and we put eyes on all the plumbing components within it, and we make sure everything is up to par, that everything's working correctly. The business is required to have that backflow device tested annually by a certified plumber. And then they have to submit those testing reports to this company who collects that data and then holds it, for if the state needs to see it or the city needs to see it.
Who's the people that are going to enforce any type of issue that somebody has that isn't taken care
It
of?
would be a combination of my department as well as community development and the plumbing code as well.
Us.
Okay.
At
And
the
we
end of
got
it,
our
us.
manpowers.
City, yeah.
City.
And this is just for the business. This isn't for anyone listening, for residential homes or anything like that, because they don't have this type of thing.
Not yet, but we're getting there, and that'll be part of the next item, agenda item.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, Mayor.
Mrs. Rusi.
Thank you. I have the compliance inspection question circled too. Did you talk with the company about why they bid it out so differently in the 5th year?
I did not.
It's very odd. And I'm wondering if they either made a mistake in the first 4 years by not including a separate compliance inspection unit price and then a total cost, or if the 5th year is the mistake. I can't imagine the intention behind doing this differently in the 5th year, just given the initial and re-inspection unit price isn't changing like that. I just don't understand why it's bid out differently that way, responded to differently that way in the bid.
Yeah, and on our last project, as I recall, I believe in the 5th year of the project cost did go up some, and maybe that was, to prepare for the next round of.
Yeah, because, we know it's going up after the 2 years, 4%, 4%, 4%, but then they're also hitting us with it just is very odd how they bid this, and I'm wondering if it was intentional or not.
Yeah. Well, as long as they know approximately how many compliance inspections they have to do each year. We go
Right.
back and we look at our reports for the last 5 years and find out how many each year. So when we put on here an estimate of 30 inspections, compliance inspections, on top of the 374 that they have to do, we have a pretty good idea that that's how many they're going to have to go back to. So they just rolled that cost into their initial inspection fees.
Okay, yeah, but not in the 5th year, though.
No.
That's why I'm saying the going about it in a different fashion and not rolling it in is unusual. I don't know why they would be taking a different perspective on that. But it's what they did, and we have one bidder, so it does, I just want to make sure that they're not going to be for the first 4 years like, oh, wait, no, they're stuck with it, I guess. But we intended the compliance inspections also to be separate. It just doesn't make any sense to me what they did. Not that it matters, again, we have one bid, but it's just very odd. Now, what if more compliance inspections than 30 are required?
In the first 4 years, we don't have to pay for them. It's built into the initial fee.
So we could have, I'm just picking a number, 50, and we wouldn't be paying any extra.
Correct.
Okay. Well, that's good then. Not that I want a lot of compliance inspections, but it's very odd and how they responded to this. I do have a question, though, going back to the idea of awareness within their proposal is a public relations program on page 12 and also educational brochures on page 13. Have we done those before?
We do mailings.
Yeah.
These businesses, for the most part, are so used to this. Most of them actually have their plumber already set up, to come out every April.
Right.
They know this is part of doing business, that they have to do this,
So-
but we do have information available,
Okay.
if anybody's like a new business owner or something, yeah.
Okay, so if they're rolling this into the cost, we definitely want to take advantage of utilizing some of their public relations programming, educational brochures, help increase awareness of these type of issues and the importance of why this is happening. So make sure if we're paying for it, we should take advantage of it. We're paying for something.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Thank you. Motion be in order?
Move to approve.
Support.
Moved by Mr. Karen, supported by Mr. Frederick, to award the blanket purchase order cross-connection control program to HydroCorp in the amount of $36,775.42. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Thank you, 7-0. Appreciate that. Item 6E, is request to award the Water Department water meter and reading program project. Mr. Babcock.
Again, good evening, and I wanted to welcome up Jacob Fenich. Jacob's an engineer with Anderson Eckstein and Westrick. He's a very, very good engineer, in my opinion. He's been doing a lot of work with the Department of Public Works, and he's been instrumental in this project. This is a lot of data, a lot of information to gather, a lot of spreadsheets, and Jacob's been handling all that for us. So he's here to help answer any questions if they come up. Just before I get into the recommendation of the new system, I wanted to go over kind of what's happened over the past few years. Last Saturday, we had a council study session, and we spoke about water meters in depth. And there were some points that were brought up that we wanted to present to the residents. And so hopefully I hit all those. If I missed anything, obviously, please let me know. But Matt, first slide. So what we've noticed over the last handful of years is that our water loss has been trending upwards. And what water loss is we buy so much water from the Great Lakes Water Authority, and then we sell water to our customers. There's a difference usually between those two, how much we buy and how much we sell. That's water loss. And what unfortunately happens with water loss is, let's say it's 10% is water loss. Well, we have to take that 10% then, and we distribute that cost across all water customers. So all water customers are paying a little bit of actual water that maybe they're not using. Maybe the water loss isn't from them. Maybe it's from their neighbors. So you want to keep that water loss under control as much as possible. So you're actually paying for only the water that you're using. So. And one big factor in water loss is water meters. So you can see here, this graph just shows what happens over time with water meters. The accuracy does decrease as the years of life. Usually an estimated life for a water meter is 20 years. So you can see here that the accuracy goes from in the beginning 100% down to roughly 94%. In years like 13 to 20. And the reason for that is by the way water meters work. So you can see here in this diagram, the water meter casting, the biggest part of the meter, it's made out of brass, and you can see that in the top left. Inside that brass casting is the measuring unit. And every time that unit turns, it's a very precise measured amount of water that turns that head inside the casting. That's how it measures how much water is going through a water meter. And that measuring device then turns a magnet on in the register head, and that magnet turns the gears and the reading numbers within the register. So that's how we get the reading. That's how the whole meter works. So you can see there's a lot of moving components here in a water meter. And those components wear over time, and that's why, meter accuracy slows down or decreases as the years go on. And the bottom right, that's just what the final water meter looks like. That's everything, all those different pictures put together. The next slide here, this gives a history of when our water meters were put in. So you could see that, actually some of our meters are 20 years old. The majority, I would say, are around, 15 years, between the 10 and 15 year mark. So we're actually hoping to reuse quite a few of our meters. We want the ones that are still out there and accurate, the newer ones that we've put in, we're going to leave those out there. And just put a new reading device with the existing meter, and that's going to save us some money. And then we'll track down the road once they hit the, closer to the 20-year mark, then we'll go and replace those meters. The other issue, aside from water loss, is the reading program that we currently use. This is just a diagram showing how our current water meter system works. All the water meters out in our system go up to a radio signal tower, so it's a radio tower. We have something like, I want to say we have 8 of them throughout the city. Then there's these data collector cabinets, which are filled with electrical components. Those then send a signal via radio frequency to the data storage here. It's actually an antenna on top of City Hall that gathers those readings and sends it down into a server in our IT department. And then that data eventually gets to water billing, and that's how we generate water bills. That system, like I said, there's a lot of components to it that are, aging and then not working, or we've had to repair. So you can see over the last handful of years how many problem water meter readings we've had, starting in 2022 and then to 2025. We're almost up to 5,000 accounts that we're having problems getting readings from. So that's part of what got this program going, is to look at, okay, are we doing the best thing here that we can for our customers, or is there something better? So, and that we'll get into in the recommendation. Okay, Matt. So that's what started this process, and we then put together a water meter committee. And this committee, we put out a bid for water meters and the reading systems. We were very happy to have had 7 bidders submit proposals, all of which, all were a little unique from each other. So what we decided as a committee was to bring them all in. Let's sit down and have a long conversation with each company and find out what's the differences between all of them and what would be best for our residents. What we decided, and this is all kind of summarized in the recommendation, with our meters, one thing is that our meters are in the basements of homes, and the current reading system, that sends the radio signals, those are in the basements as well. Instead of drilling holes through the outside of people's homes, through their siding, through their brick, and mounting those on the outside of the house, we opted to put those in the basement. And we'd like to keep them in the basement. After interviewing these companies, we found out that what we had them do it was called a propagation study. So they basically put all of our addresses into a database, and they make sure that their program will be able to read from all of our homes. And we found out through this process that most of these companies, we were able to get significantly high number of readings from these signals being sent from basements, basically, as opposed to outside the homes. There were some companies that they came back and recommended, we think you need to put it on the outside of your house. But again, that's increased installation costs, and it's going up through people's finished basements, drilling holes through their houses, which, we would really rather not do. And then when you speak to other cities that have them on the outside of the house too, they've told me, they've said it's, that's a nightmare as well, because you got people hitting them with cars, hitting them with the lawnmower, hitting wires with weed whips, there's a lot of damage done to those things on the outside of the house. So, so we went through, we interviewed the companies, and we decided that a cellular network would be the best for our customers. That takes out this radio frequency. It takes out all these antennas that we'd have to install around the city, and we have to maintain and pay for. And it uses the cell technology. It's not it doesn't use the 4G network. It uses, I think it's LTE?
LTE.
LTE. The LTE is what sends text messages. So that's what these endpoints are doing, is they're basically sending a text message to City Hall once a day with the water meter reading. So we felt that was the best technology, again, for our customers. So we then brought back in the 3 companies that offered that technology and did further interviews with them. We also then went and checked their references with other communities that have their systems. and eventually also talk to them about installation costs. Now that we knew we were talking about cellular networks, we're going to keep the units in the basements. Now we were able to do a comparison of installation costs as well. So, and again, our committee, we had a lot of people involved. The manager's office, tax and water billing, Department of Public Works, water maintenance, and again, AEW was on this as well. So our recommendation is to go with a company called Blue Water Solutions. We currently have budgeted just over $2 million in the budget for water meter replacements. So in the recommendation, we are also requesting a blanket purchase order so that we can get this project started and start replacing these. The ones we're going to attack first are the homes that we're having bad readings from, and we're having to estimate water meters, or water meter readings. So those are the ones we want to jump on first. So that is our recommendation.
Okay, just to confirm, and I'll go to questions. Of the three, of course, Blue Water Solutions wasn't the lowest bidder. Correct?
Correct.
And I know you told us that on February 7th when they had it. Can you reiterate why you chose Blue Water Solutions over United Systems?
Well, one big component of this is, again, we're looking at replacing water meters, and we're looking at replacing the endpoints that send a signal. And we want systems that work well together with each other. We didn't want to pick a company that we didn't like one of the other components and not be able to feel good about using both from the same company, because in our experience, when that happens and you're buying water meters from this guy and the endpoints from this guy, if there's problems, they're just going to be pointing fingers at each other. If you're investing in one company who owns both, they can't point fingers at each other. They got to take responsibility for it and make the fixes. So this is a complete package. This company, we also currently work with. They are in our businesses. They're in our homes, helping us with our current water meters as well. They are local. They have a Michigan presence locally in the Detroit area, and so they can respond very quickly. Some of these other companies are from out of state. They'd be hiring outside installation companies to come from, Illinois or, other states to come into our city and do these installations. And when there's a problem, we pressed them in these interviews, and they said, well, we'll come out once a month. Well, no, we need quicker response, when there's a problem. So we like the local presence.
And I was going to say also, one of the biggest things was, if you look on your sheet under United Systems, they currently have 5 Michigan customers. Those are Port Huron, Marquette, Traverse City, Holland Township, so they are good communities. But of their 5 systems, 4 are on the old fixed system, which is something similar to what we have with the antenna going back. They're just now broaching the cellular network. They have just now switched over one of their cellular customers, which would be Traverse City. If you look at Blue Water, they're actually in 85 Michigan customers. And they are in some of our local. They are in East Point, Bloomfield Hills, Grand Blanc, Monroe, Rochester, and they only have 14 fixed customers that are left in the state, and they have 71 of their 85 have all switched over to cellular. So they've been through this process of switching from the fixed to the cellular, which is what we are recommending. They've done it with a lot of Michigan communities, and they're a lot further ahead of the game of knowing how to do this. Hence why one of the biggest things, as Brian mentioned as well, they've got an entire staff that does this as part of their team, because they have so many communities in Michigan. Because United Systems does not have a big presence in Michigan, they are hiring an outside contractor to come in and do all of those installations. So that was a really big factor when we were interviewing them, and we just felt having 85 communities and already switching over 71 and not necessarily being, I wouldn't say necessarily a guinea pig, but part of one of the first few that they're switching over was one of the big selling points.
Mr. Karen.
Thank you. Yeah, and first, just to clarify, this was put out as a request for proposals, not as a bid.
Yes.
Correct.
Right, okay.
Yep.
Because you're comparing different technologies, right?
Yes.
So that was not going to lead to a low bid situation.
Correct.
Because not everyone was bidding the exact same thing. You're asking, hey, what's available out there and then the committee chose what the best fit technology was for St. Clair Shores, right? Okay.
Correct.
Thank you. So I guess first, Matt, could you back up to the slide that had the picture of the meter and the reader and the transmitter in the basement? No, next one.
I think it's the next one. Yeah, there you
Next
go.
one.
That-
Or is
that's
that?
the picture?
Yeah, that's, so in terms of, for all customers, all water customers in the city, everyone's going to get a different transmitter, right? To go to the cellular network.
Yes, and on the left side of that slide, you can see there's a plastic gray box. That's the transmitter that sends the signal. There's a wire that attaches that to the water meter, which you
Okay.
can see that's in the plumbing.
So that's a key thing to get the communication system correct, is every transmitter has to get replaced.
Yes.
And then you talked about the black part, which is actually doing the reading, the measuring device on the brass. So what is going to drive the decision that that has to get replaced? Or are all of those getting replaced? The black part?
Only
and
the
brass.
meters that are, say, 10 years or older, we would be replacing because the water accuracy is so much
Right,
lower.
but you're talking difference between able to replace out the reader part of it from the brass.
No, the reader and the brass come together
Have
as
to go
one
together.
package.
Okay, so anything 10 years and older, the whole meter's getting replaced.
Yep.
Anything from when we did the mass replacements starting in 2013, the numbers. So basically those, we're just going to go after the transmitters,
Yes.
right? Okay.
Yep.
So from having to go through and do this with how many, 25,000 customers? that
Yeah,
we have, right?
25,000, yep.
What's the priority of who's going to go, which ones are going to go after first?
Well, that's where we know houses that are currently getting estimated readings because we cannot
The
get
ones
it.
with what we think are the failed transmitters.
Yes.
Okay.
And those were the ones that we'll be hitting with letters up first saying, okay, now, but a lot of people have been patiently waiting. They call our water billing department right now and they give them, readings quarterly so that they can get an accurate water bill. They're ready for this. So there's going to be a lot of people that call right away, say, I'm ready to make my appointment. And I'll bring that up too, for the installation. It's going to be a lot different than the last time we did this, which was 15 years ago. We brought in employees that, we were making appointments on the phones and that. Now, with this new technologies, and we'll have more information on this later, we'll bring this to you. It's so easy to make appointments, it's just like, how making a doctor's appointment now. You just get on your phone, you can, pick whichever time slot you want and, instant notifications, text message reminders, the technology for scheduling these appointments is so much better, so.
Okay.
And they'll also have 24-hour live support.
All right, so the progression is going to be is that we're going to select initial first set of customers, probably the ones where we're not getting the transmissions now.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to get a letter giving them instructions how to make the appointment.
Yep.
And then the company will take it over from there.
Yes.
Okay. So I think just one last thing to reiterate, because we talked about the study session. When we went through this, or the council members that were here 2013, 14, 15, when we did this mass replacement across the whole city, I think we're all in agreement when we talked at the study session. We didn't have any complaints out of that. From the workmanship, people going into people's homes, the professionalism, we had none of that. So that's the expectation with this one, because this is good, for a resident, this is intrusive, right? They've got to set an appointment, they got to be at home, people have to have access, they're letting somebody else in. So we got to be very aware of the professionalism that we expect from this company. And I think it was easy for us to deal with it the last time because they were our direct employees, not a contractor. So I just really want you to impress upon them of that's our expectation, because that's the experience that we all had.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I tell you, with the large project like this, it's nice when we don't have complaints like that.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
so just please pass that along. Thank you.
Ms. Burgess.
I'm kind of familiar a little bit with the cellular just because of the alarm systems that, my husband installs. They've sunsetted a lot of cellular, over the years. Is there I know you said LTE, is there, like, in the future, if this sunsets, what happens? I mean, does a company have an upgrade system? Who's responsible?
So we've looked at some of these different systems. In fact, our own water meter system is being sunsetted, and that's this fixed, radio signal network. There's another company in here that was down in city Detroit, put in a whole new fixed network system, and they sunset that system in 7 years, and they had to switch over. So, yes, we have seen that, but I have not seen any sunsetting with the LTE, system. I haven't heard of anything like that with that
And
system.
we asked every one of them, that was a big question. And what had happened was a lot of them learned from, originally when these first started coming out, they were on the G network. And when 3G went to 4G, it was a mass issue of not being compatible and having to go change. At that time, they started meeting, because a lot of these companies are in some major, large metropolitan cities, the city of Dallas, city of, Detroit, and that kind of stuff. They started realizing they have to go to the LTE network, because no matter what 4G, 5G, 6G, the LTE network is there for low technology like this that's going to stay stagnant. So every single one of them ones, when we met, I would tell you, I think all of us were a little hesitant of saying, cell phones came really quickly. Are they going to leave really quickly? And I will tell you, every one of them, even those that aren't on the cellular network that are trying to get into that world because they see that's where all the communities are going, there was no hesitant on any one of them to say that they're worried about the LTE network changing. And they've even reached out to each one of the providers, whether it's AT&T, Verizon, and they have their own accounts with them to be able to keep the rates lower, because they have so many customers. They're negotiating with those, which is very nice. And the other part as well, many of these providers have on their LTE network, they do what's called a shared usage, where Verizon may be the primary, but if Verizon for some reason is down and having an issue, it switches right over to AT&T and will transmit through there. So they have multi-redundancy in all their LTE networks.
Okay, great, thank you.
Yep.
Ms. Rusi.
Thank you. First, I'll piggyback off of Councilman Karen about the expectations of professionalism. I was one of the members who were around the last time we did this, and it went very, very smoothly, at least in terms of the actual installation and the residents making the appointments, the staff going out there and keeping the appointments, doing the work. I don't recall one complaint from people, and that's the expectation I think we all have. So if you could, again, convey that. I hope administration will be receiving metrics about the types of appointments that are being set in terms of, we want the windows to be as narrow as possible. I don't want to hear residents are getting appointments that require them to sit at home noon to 6 p.m. Or they do that and then the person doesn't show up and they have to, and I understand sometimes emergencies happen, but I could definitely, I think we've all waited for repair people with the ridiculous window and not have them show up, and that makes nobody happy. So
Right, yeah.
I assume administration will be on top of that, receiving metrics and being able to follow up with the contractor appropriately, correct?
Yes. And if anybody on council or any residents know of someone, that's good at customer service, good mechanically with their hands, and may be interested in a job installing water meters, the company has already reached out and said, we definitely are willing to hire some local, people.
I hope
from
they
the
have people who have already done this before.
Oh, they do. But
Okay.
this is
Like,
more
because
work
I don't want
from their-
our residents being used as on-the-job training.
Yeah, no. No, they will
Okay.
definitely all be trained and ready to go when they walk into a house.
Okay, because that's actually kind of concerning to me. They're like, do they have enough staff to do this?
They do.
Okay, but they
Yeah,
want
they
more?
they just converted like the city of East Point, and they did it real quickly, and then city of East Point's very happy with the system, so.
Oh, I'm glad to hear that. And another point that was conveyed during the study session, I think is important to reiterate, is the last time we dealt with this, we know people who, if they've been receiving estimates for a while, if the estimates that they've been paying off of have been unfortunately low compared to actual usage, they will owe money back to the city. If we can proactively convey to people the availability of payment plans and agreements where it's not just, if it took them a couple of years to accrue this, they don't have to pay it all back at once.
Correct.
And make sure they know that we have a program available that can help them to contact the city manager's office and really be proactive about that level of communication, because, last time, unfortunately, and that's back when we were dealing with, breeders and everything that, remember all the spider webs? And that's why they were going slow, because it was all mechanical and they were getting spider webs, and we had a lot of slow meters compared to what people were paying, and unfortunately, that was one of the issues with the program, and a necessary one, unfortunately, but we will have people hit with, notifications that when these things run slow, some of these estimates that they have been paying off of may not be reflective of what the actual water usage, and they'll owe money back. So if we can be proactive about making sure people are aware of that and what we have in place to help them, that would be helpful. And I have one last point that may be a little bit pedantic, but mine usually are pedantic. Budget impact states that the city proposes to update the water meter program over the next 3 to 5 years in contract with Blue Water Solutions. The PO references we approved a 3 to 5 year contract. The letter from AEW states pricing proposals over a 5-year period, though not 3 to 5 year, but a 5-year period. And then the motion itself doesn't state anything about approving an actual contract, just approving a project, but not the contract. So we probably want to make sure we're approving the contract, and I understand we're not sure at this point if we will need the full 5 years or not, but maybe contract up to 5 years or something. That's what the proposal states, rather than leaving it open-ended like this. And right now, it just has us approving a project, but not the actual contract. And then the PO for 1 year, but not obviously for the subsequent years, which we can do in those fiscal years. But again, I think we have to be, emphasize that we are approving a contract with a term up to at least of a set number of years.
Okay.
So pedantic, but the motion really bothered me because it has us approving a project, not a contract, which we're approving, I guess, a project, but importantly, legally, it's a contract with this company.
Sure.
Thank you.
Mr. Vitale.
Yeah, couple points. First of all, I'm pretty sure I'm one of your customers that has to call in the reading. And, the way that can come back and hit you is that, my estimated reading was usually pretty close, doesn't change much. But this fall, I put a lawn in, so I did a lot more watering than I would normally do. And then went and double-checked those numbers, and lo and behold, I owe the city $200-300. So if I didn't do that and that situation continued on, I'm sure I would owe a whole bunch more than that. So that's part of the importance of this, that we get rid of some of these estimated. Could you go back to that first slide? Because that's kind of the one I asked for, the very first one. So undoubtedly, the general trend in terms of water loss is upwards. There's really nothing to attribute that to beyond inaccuracy of the meters, although I would say that we see 2 big kind of spike years there. Probably water main breaks, and especially cold winters. That would be what you'd probably attribute the spikes to?
It could be, water main breaks definitely are part of water loss.
Yeah. So, so even if you take out the spikes, still the trend is undeniably upward by several percent. So, I see the justification in this project. The other item that I was going to discuss, that we did bring up at the study session, was the meters themselves. And I asked about the idea of freeze plates. And I see that Matt has already brought up my graphic here. If you see at the right, that's what we charge for a water meter, $260 to replace a water meter. And that is often for a part. We can repair the water meter for between $12 and $16. I would hope the city even gets it cheaper than eBay. I don't think that's a good policy. And it's not the policy in other municipalities. If you have one of these freeze plates break, That's going to be one of your worst days because that means you've not only lost your heat for some reason, but now potentially you have a flood situation. So you're going to be dealing with that, and we're not going to be on the hook for any of that. But then when you get your next water bill, we're going to hit you for another $260 for something we fixed or could fix for under 20 bucks. I don't think that's right. I think that whatever these water meters are, and I noticed they're Badgers, so that's why, I know we have some Neptunes in the system, but they're Badgers, that's why I looked at Badgers, and that's a 3/4 and 5/8 inch, which I would think is probably the most common meter we have in the city. Can we just start stocking those replacement parts and, we either eat to $12 or we charge the residents something more akin to what we're paying, which is $12, to make that as a policy?
Okay.
I mean, I can't institute policy. I have to have my colleagues.
We can have
I was gonna say, let us analyze, review, and then part of the budget process, and while we're putting these in, this would be a good time to start changing the process.
Okay, that's why I raised it up now. I think you said this is something where we're looking at maybe 10 of these a year.
Yeah, between last Saturday and today, I apologize, I forgot to look that up. I just made a note too. So I will further look
Okay.
into this one.
Because, $2,600 loss, I suppose, for the city in that respect. But then again, we fix these way cheaper than that. So I don't think we should be giving somebody another bill that they didn't expect on a memorably bad day. So, okay, that was all I had. I'll vote in favor.
I just want to mention, because you brought this up, and I don't think I said it, the cost of replacing these water meters is already built into the infrastructure that we have within the water budget. So there's not going to be a separate bill for water meter replacements for this, so that wasn't
No,
said.
no, I was strictly
I'm just
speaking to the-
making clarification, because
okay, yeah.
I don't think I said that in my presentation, so. The other benefit of this too, a new, for our customers, is going to be that there's going to be a portal, customer portal built into this, where residents can sign up to get notifications. So, a friend of mine recently told me she was up north, got a text message that she went over, found out that someone that was staying in her house left the toilet running in the basement. I mean, it was like instant, so that's going to help with some of these people as well.
That's great. You know what? I know I ceded my time, but if you don't mind,
go ahead.
Mr. Frederick. You said that it would send a text message once a day. Is it going to be once a day, or is it once an hour, or what's the frequency of the?
It's what you set it at. So if you as a homeowner are leaving your house for the weekend and you're going up north, you can actually put, I want to be notified if I use any water. So if any water comes up, it's going to give you a notification. You can also set it to say, hey, I want to know if it's over X amount per month, if it's over X amount per week. You set all of your different parameters that it'll let you know at any of those times. So it's pretty much a database that you're able to put in there and say, hey, I know someone's staying, but here's how much usually my daily water usage is. Because of this new system and being able for electronic, you can actually go back, so you'll be able to see how much water do I use on a daily basis. When I put my irrigation system on, how much water do I use on that day? If I put my irrigation on from this time to this time, how much water am I using from that hour? It'll break it down from hour to day to week, where you'll have a lot more data and information than we ever had before.
Are we going to make that ability to sign up for an account something that we're going to maybe give a card when we do the install, so they know a website to go to and sign up?
Yes.
QR code and everything.
Whatever,
Yep.
however
Yep.
we tell them, but
Yep.
we're going to let them know that all those features are, that's great.
Yeah, and that's one nice thing about this company we're going with as well. The cost for that customer portal is built in. Doesn't matter how many customers sign up, it's the same cost to the city. So some other companies charge based on, every 5,000 customers or something, but, so yeah, we want to get everybody signed up, for sure.
Now I'm glad my MTU's broken.
Mr. Frederick.
Thanks, Mayor. So, I know it's only a $12 part that Chris was talking about, but we're obviously taking water meters out of houses that maybe are running slow, but the freeze plate's probably okay. So maybe we just stockpile 10 or 12 of those out of the ones we're taking out.
Right.
Before we scrap them or whatever we do with those things. So That might be a way to put them on the shelf, and now, if we run into that situation, we actually have the part. So for both kinds of meters, so.
Smart to separate the brass anyways.
You bet. And I'll move to approve the water meter reading program replacement project with Blue Water Solutions, and approve a fiscal year 25-26 blanket purchase order for the Water Department account 591-540-980.874 in the amount of $2,054,490.
So you're approving this contract with up to 5 years?
Up to 5 years.
Support.
Moved by Mr. Frederick, supported by Mr. Karen. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? 7-0. Brian, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Nice
Well
job.
done.
Thank you for getting that chart too, Brian.
Yep. It's long overdue, actually. We've needed to have this done, so it's a good project. Mr. Rebello?
Just a
Yes.
question for
Yes.
Brian.
Yes.
So we did this last about 15 years ago, is that about right?
Yeah, 10 to 15.
10 to
Okay.
20. I mean,
So
some
will
are
we be
20.
expecting, like, in another 10 to 15 years, something like this might come up again, or is there a little bit extra life in these new ones here that we're getting?
The life, it's still 20 years. That's-
20 years
yeah, that's the
is
industry
max.
standard, yep.
The only other question I had was what Mr. Lentz said here, the city manager, and that's if we'll say I go up north and I have a break, and I'm on the system where it sends me a signal there's something wrong, and for some reason I don't get the warning. Are we going to be held responsible because we said, hey, no, we said, hey, if you send us a warning shot, that we can get it fixed, okay?
No.
Okay.
Now, there'll be a disclaimer.
Yep, okay, great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Item 7 is consent agenda.
Move to approve.
Support?
Moved by Mr. Karen, supported by Mr. Frederick. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed. Item 8 is updates from prior council meetings. Dustin Lent.
Mr. Rebello requested that information about the FEMA hazard mitigation plan be put out on social media. Chief Piper has reached out to the county emergency management to see if they have any good social media documents already created that we can use. If not, we will also work with our St. Clair Shores communication team to create our own and get that information out.
If we get a timeline on that, would be great, okay?
Ms. Rusi noted 2 errors in the FEMA hazard mitigation plan.
The resolution,
Yep.
not the plan
Sorry,
itself.
the mitigation resolution wording. Fire and the clerk are updating and sending that to the county to let them know.
That was pedantic.
We're gonna send a bill to the county too for your services. Mr. Vitale asked administration to look further into the geofabrics for the Briar's walking path. Fishbeck is using a geogrid fabric recommended by the geogrid rep based on the soil boring / geotechnical report we sent him to use to stabilize the pathway. This geogrid can be paved over or used as a base for crushed limestone path. Please see the attached informational sheet. Mr. Vitale asked if changing the direction of the saw cuts to a diagonal cut on the roads would help us get more life out of the patching. The city engineer and the DPW director are researching the question and if other communities use it or have used this technique, and we will report back. Ms. Rusi said that she would like to reconvene the playground committee to explore creating a tot lot. The Parks and Recreation Supervisor is doing some research on tot lots and will provide information in the future.
And the committee members have received some preliminary information that this might be something we consider for a future passport grant application as well.
That is correct.
One note.
Yes.
One note on the diagonal cutting, not necessarily 45-degree angle because of the increased concrete, maybe as little as a 20-degree angle or something like that.
Item 9 is comments by individual council members. Ms. Burgess.
First. I wanted to ask a question about, I had gotten notified by somebody that I've talked to over the summer as well, but on one of our streets here, I think it's Violet Street, we have a like 15-foot skeleton still out in their front yard. Do we have any kind of ordinance that says that they can just keep that there all year round?
We do not have an ordinance that says otherwise.
So anybody can just put something on their yard that,
Yep.
wow. Okay.
Freedom of speech kind of thing.
All righty, I'll get back with them. Just a couple announcements. The chili cook-off for VFW is this coming Saturday. And it starts at 4 p.m., judging's at 6, and it's $20, but you get an unlimited tasting, and they also have a nacho and cheese bar, raffle baskets, and a cash bar. And it's fish fry season, so VFW starts, and St. Isaac's, I know there's other ones, but those are the ones that I'm mostly involved in. Start on Friday. VFW this coming Friday is going to be having live music after their fish fries, so you can stay for the dinner, stay for the music. St. Isaac Jogues also starting Friday with lots of choices. They have lots of great choices like they did last year. Lobster tails, swordfish, mahi-mahi, and they also have a delivery. So if you call ahead on Wednesday, you can have a delivery on Friday.
And gluten-free.
And yes, they have lots of gluten-free options, which I love since I have an allergy. And that's all I have.
Thank you. Mr. Rubello.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. There was a fire on 12 Mile Road that looks like it claimed the old Mason farmhouse, okay? Which is got to be over 100 years old. It's sort of historic, at least by a lot of people's standards. Is there, and I'm not exactly sure what they're going to do with it, if they're going to knock it down, if they're going to fix it. But Ms. Pike, maybe in the next couple weeks, you can look in to see if there's any type of like grants out there that save these type of structures, because it is sort of part of our St. Clair Shores history.
Okay.
So thank you for whatever you can do. And I'm not exactly sure, Ms. Pike, the city of St. Clair Shores won another E-Cities Award. Can you talk a little bit about that? I don't know if you got, and I'm sorry to sort of blindside you with that, but if you're not ready for that, can you maybe come back at our next meeting?
I would like to bring it back at our next meeting. I know that we regularly report on things that are happening here in St. Clair Shores, but I will bring more information and more specifics at the next meeting.
We'll put that on updates and follow-ups if you don't, how's that? Okay?
That's great, Mayor.
All right.
Because that's sort of hey, that's a feather in St. Clair Shores cap. That's a great tribute to the city, that we're progressing and doing stuff, and you know, we're alive and well. And E-Cities, to me, that type of thing, I love that stuff. So we just have to update. I know we sort of are getting a little proclamation from the state, and John caught something a little bit earlier about it's not on the city website yet, or on the
E-Cities.
It wasn't on their website.
it wasn't, no, it wasn't on their website. So if we can get that filled in, because there's little fill-in things, that'll be wonderful, because I dig those types of things. I have a question about recyclable bins and the garbage bins and so forth. And if you could sort of get a statement for us that what's the process for someone to get, if they lose their bin, if the bin is gone somehow, if it gets busted, how do I get a replacement parts? What's the process of it? So we can, because we get a lot of, at least I do, I get a lot of people ask me, how can I get my bin replaced? How do I get this little piece fixed? So if we can get, Mr. City Manager, something that just, this is our, you know, this is our
We'll send that
protocol.
out to you in an email.
Send that out, yeah.
Okay.
But
'cause
this
that's
is a quick
something I
thing,
think can be
hold
spread
Hold on,
out.
let them give you a quick answer, but we'll send an
Okay.
email.
So for any residents out there who has any issue, if Priority happens to break it or it gets break during the damage of the delivery process, Priority has a damaged cart complaint portal that you can just go right on. It's right on their website. You put it in. They will then come out and assess it. If you haven't, it just breaks naturally or it's just old, DPW does have parts. They can go and they can purchase parts.
So I can just go to the DPW as a resident
They have
and say,
numerous parts with wheels, lids, rods, all of that. Now, if it's something different outside of the wheel, the things that normally fail, they might not have that. But DPW does have a lot of that in stock. If you need to purchase your own where you need an extra one, DPW also does sell those as well. So we have those for sale. If you do have a complaint with a garbage can being broken by priority, they do need to fill that out because there is a camera system on all of the vehicles. They will be able to review that and find out what had happened during that time. But then we also, I will say too as well, I have residents that also call in quite a bit. When we do have a heavy wind, it does blow your can down the street to your neighbors, that kind of stuff. So I would, if you are losing your trash can, please reach out to your neighbors and they should be able to maybe have your trash can because they do go down the road. Especially during the winter when there are already so many snowbanks and these trash cans don't really have a lot of firm footing. They fall over and then they get blown.
Okay, thank you very much. If somehow, whatever you.
I give to you.
If you could just put it down, that would be great. That way we can forward along when we get these types of issues and questions come up. I want to thank Ms. Denise Pike. There was an Alexander resident that came in last week and had all kinds of questions about all kinds of stuff, about how things operate. So I want to thank Denise Pike for taking 20 minutes, half hour out of her day to sit down and explain this to the residents. She really appreciated it, and so did I, so thank you. And Matt, Chris Vitale and myself, we were sort of council liaisons to a subcommittee for the fire department. So I'm not sure, Mr. Piper, if this went up today or yesterday?
Today.
Today? Okay. So I just wanna say, we had a chance to go in, Mr. Vitale and myself, last week. There we are, okay? We're on the balcony. There was no Rapunzel up there. There was just us two. And we got a chance to tour that. And what a beautiful, beautiful facility this turned out. What's incredible is when you're sitting down and you're talking to everybody who's involved, the architects and all the different people that are involved with making some of the decisions, what it's going to look like in the inside and how we're going to do it, what we're not going to do and what we're going to do. And then when you see this, all that stuff on paper, all of a sudden is a reality. It's breathtaking to me. So I'm not sure if I'm going to call it a St. Clair Shores man-made wonder, but it's right up there. And I got to tell you, I'm proud of how that turned out, and I think it's just beautiful. And hats off to everybody involved. Chris Ray's met us out there, and I know he was involved, and he was right in there doing stuff. So I want to thank Chris because he did a nice job and he looked out for us. And I'm not sure when it's opening. Is it opening in a couple weeks?
Yeah, maybe about 2 weeks, 10 days, 2 weeks. We don't, something like that before we get.
Which I think is incredible. I just
checked out.
It was breathtaking to me because I've never been involved with anything like that. And I was very, very proud to be involved with something like this. Next picture. Okay, so just recently, I have to put my granddaughter up there because I've never experienced anything like this. My oldest son had a baby last week. Her name is Viviana Rose, and she's an Aquarius. And Aquarius are great people like Pisces. Happy birthday to Ron's mom, who would have been 100.
101.
101.
On Saturday.
Because I know she's like the 21st. So this is a whole different life for me, and I'm looking forward to seeing her tomorrow. And that's
congratulations.
Way to go.
Yeah, it's fantastic, Dave.
I've never, obviously the people have been grandparents and stuff, but I've never been. And there she is, Viviana Rose.
There you are. I'll call you
Born
Grandpa.
February 6th, Aquarius.
Fantastic.
Thanks, Mayor.
Ms. Rusi.
Oh, she's beautiful, Dave. I forwarded some resident emails and issues I've received over the weekend to administration about follow-up offline about those. Just two quick things. First off, kudos to Parks and Rec for another lovely annual tradition of the daddy-daughter dance this weekend. I take my daddy every year for the city, and It's always just a lovely, lovely afternoon to see all the little girls all dressed up. You know that they feel like princesses, wearing their little dresses and having some quality time with their dads or their grandpas or their uncles or, whoever important male in their life they took. So it was very nice, and I know Parks and Rec puts a lot of love in this. I heard so many wonderful compliments just about everything, from the decorations to the programming to the prizes, just to everything. So kudos again to the staff for putting that on and helping a lot of little girls in this city and a lot of their dads create some really special memories that they'll have forever. So, and one last thing, we got a nice email from Aquatics, Mr. Herms, and I just wanted to read this because I think it really emphasizes something important that we don't emphasize enough perhaps, but the email says, and it's accompanied by a picture, but it's a picture of a diving board, so keep that in mind. I wanted to take a moment to recognize Brandon Abel and Jacob Hardwick, who just saved the pool budget $10,000. Last year, the health department pointed out that our diving boards were losing their non-skid skip service and would need to be replaced prior to 2026. Each board cost $5,000. I was able to order a kit from the company. Past 2 weeks, Brandon and Jacob have stripped both boards to the bare metal, climate-controlled shop, performed a resurface. Jason says they turned out beautiful. The high quality of work is something that Brandon's team strives for each and every day. Most of their work goes unnoticed, but I can't tell you how many times they swoop in and save the day. Many thanks to both of them for their dedication and commitment to their jobs and to the city. And that's about our building maintenance department, who is one of a couple of departments we have that work in the background, helping like every other department just be the best they can, from building maintenance to IT to communications, motor pool, some of the finance staff. You may not always see these people at the podium, but they are working behind the scenes every day on bid stuff, little stuff, day to day, to help the departments you do see operate efficiently and to the best of their ability to deliver the best services and amenities to the resident. And in this one, save a little bit of money, which is good, but that's not why I was reading that. I was just reading that to emphasize just how these type of departments, building maintenance, IT communications, mobile finance, work with our departments collaboratively and help them out and really make our city be the best it can be and operate the best it can. So thanks for building maintenance and the other departments I named. Like I said, you may not always see them up at the podium, but they are definitely a big part of the heart and soul of our community and help us be the best we can. So that's it. Thank you.
Mr. Karen.
Thank you. Yeah, I'll second the compliments to Brandon and Jacob, and also Sean is kind of although Sean's in charge of the arena now, but he gets involved in all the other city maintenance issues we have. And I'll tell you, one thing that those three are really great at are just the random things that break and how they can just figure out how to fix them and that. So, they just do a great job. And they're very prompt and fast and just great asset to the city. A couple of follow-ups first. The two state appropriations we had, one for $500,000 for the library, $1 million for Jefferson Streetscape. Where are we at in the state process of applying for those funds so that they're available once they actually start to be expended?
I have been unable to get a hold of Amanda, so I will make that a priority tomorrow.
Okay, because I'm dealing with one at the county, and I had multiple rounds of going through the agency that's, I think is handling all of them as one-time, grants through the legislative directed spending. The system that we're required to use, it's a little cumbersome. It does take a while to make sure they get all the dots connected behind the scenes to actually finally get into the system and start really applying for the money. So, so I can send you it's really through the Labor, Economic, and Opportunity Office that's administering. I think those other grants are part of the same process. So I'll forward you those information tomorrow, and maybe that might kickstart it. Because they did send out information, at least for my case, of they wanted all that in by early March, so they can start, getting that out before the end of the fiscal year. So, okay. And then also Denise, if you can follow up with Mike and maybe John Walters as well. I had a question regarding in the finance statements under the repairs and maintenance. It looked like they weren't reducing the encumbrances on the sidewalk program as expenses were coming in. At least that's what it looks like to me, but I needed confirmation that was the case and that can get resolved.
Yeah, and that was brought up to them already, so I caught that where it went out.
Okay.
So, yeah, I know they're.
Well, it stands out. It's 160% over budget.
Yes, yep, nope.
All right. Last thing, congratulations to the Shore Kiwanis, their wild game dinner that we had last week. Absolutely huge success. I think 50% more profit than past years. I know several council members were there as well. And, but yeah, I think it was, in the end, raised well over $25,000 profit
Fantastic.
on that one event. So 400 people in the hall, tons of raffles, big raffle items that were going out the door. So great job by Shore Kiwanis, and especially former Councilman Mike Boyle, who is the chairman of the events, and Mitch Groders, who was his chief assistant for the whole thing. But they did a great job. It was a great event. Great for the Kiwanis organization.
Sit right there.
All right. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Frederick?
Thanks, Mayor. A couple things just for some follow-up. The 9 Mile, I get this, I'm sure we all get it. The 9 Mile Old Kroger building as well as the 13 Mile Old Kroger building. Do we have anything come in yet with something that could go there? Any news?
Denise?
The developer has indicated to us that he has two different companies that he's in conversations with now. There was a Facebook post for Crane's Detroit Business solidifying that Amazon is not coming. So we have responded to the developer that both of the companies he's talking to would be uses permitted by right. We're just waiting for some additional information.
And that's for 9 Mile?
That is for the former Kroger, yes, the Amazon building.
Anything at the 13 Mile Kroger in the shopping center?
Sadly, no. Gabe's is pulled out for sure, and no, we don't have anything that they've even come to us and said this is something that's interested.
Okay.
I think we should reiterate, though, even though Cranes has said they have pulled out, the developer has not been able to get Amazon to walk away from the lease or to do that. I mean, that's important. So, yeah, I know he's working on that, but he has been unable to get Amazon to walk away. So he's working on that, but they continue to pay, and
Right, so now that could hold things up, right?
for sure. I mean, he is eager, I believe, he's eager to try to get the facility going with occupancy, right? I mean, he actually owns that, he owns it, he's doing across the street, which is Chipotle, Panera. I think it's all good for the whole area, but, you know, Amazon doesn't find it a necessity to.
And Panera's moving along pretty good, I think.
It's coming.
Yeah. All right, next thing for the follow-up list, I heard that safer grant opportunities are knocking on the door. So here's what I'd like to do, set up a weekly follow-up with us so that we know weekly where we're at. I don't want to miss this one. And maybe even some others that maybe we should be looking at too, because I know there's different grants on that. If there's a way we can just double, triple check that every week and make sure we're on top of it. Also, the other, Linda, thank you for mentioning the fish fries. The other one is St. Margaret's. St. Margaret's has a fish fry too, and they'll be doing it this Friday. And then the other thing, let's talk a little bit about the library. First thing is the Friends Book Discussion is going to meet on March 11th at 1 p.m. in the Gear Conference Room at City Hall to discuss Celebrants by Steve Rowley. The Friends Evening Book Discussion will be held on March 19th at 6:30 p.m. And that's going to be at St. Margaret of Scotland Catholic Church, and will feature The Frozen River by Ariel Lawn. Adults also register beginning February 23rd for a take-home watercolor kit with curbside pickup available March 9th through the 13th. Additional details on that, and including registration information, are available on the library's website. And since we're talking about the library, Mr. Matt, thank you very much. We're still selling bricks. I know that there's been a flyer out there that said we were going to take orders until February 1st, but with the crazy winter, we're going to extend that a little bit. So you can become a lasting part of our library history by purchasing a brick, and I think there's a QR code. If you want to leave that QR code up for a little bit while everybody runs and gets their camera at their television and take a picture of it. I'll tell you that there's different sizes. There's a 4x8, which is $100, and then there's another 4x8 that you can have a logo put on it for $125. There's also an 8x8, which you can include probably your whole family on that one. 6 lines of personalized text, and that's $250. And then if you wanted to add a logo to that one, that'd be $275. Another 8x8. If you want to just go online and find it, it's at donate.brickmarkers.com/SCSMI, and that's an HTTPS. So if you're interested in being part of the library, which, my God, half the city, more than half the city uses our library, so you can now get your name on that. So, and thanks for leaving that up there so people could take a picture and actually go online. And Mayor, that's all I have.
Thank you. Mr. Vitale.
Okay. Well, I wanted to mention the, yeah, no, I understand. I had a resident who approached me on Friday about snow shoveling on the sidewalks there, Jefferson, Ridgeway to Stevens. It's essentially the lot that's been used as staging for the road for the sewer reconstruction project. I did advise her that that is probably not a safe sidewalk to walk on, as is. This is just the result of construction and things like that. We should probably just put a closed sidewalk sign on there. They're not done yet. There are segments of it that are missing as well. It's not easy to capture on camera. So we should probably, luckily there's a sidewalk on the other side of the street that's perfectly safe. But we probably should put a closed sidewalk sign there. Also, I noticed there's a weed tree growing up next to a power pole, and that weed tree is actually hanging out into the sidewalk and will poke your eye out. So somebody should probably cut that thing down too.
Okay.
I don't have a problem with them using it for staging. Where else are you going to find 2 acres on Jefferson? If it helps them get the job done faster, then I'm all in favor. But we probably should officially close that sidewalk.
I want to see, let me, before we just officially close, let's see how long that they're going to use that for staging. My understanding is the staging's close to being done there, but I will check.
Okay.
Yep.
Next one.
We'll get rid of that weed tree.
I also had a resident contact me about someone they know was involved in an accident. They were rear-ended on private property. And it was their belief that the person who impacted them, well, let's just say was impaired. And that kind of led to a conversation back and forth with this resident. They were a little put off that the police weren't going to take a report. And I said, well, as long as you were able to obtain insurance information, usually they don't because there isn't a need for it. But they said, well, they don't think this person should be driving. And I said, well, that's a different concern. Now, I would assume if that person is drinking, I know you can call in someone you feel is a drunk driver, even if you just see them on the road. I would assume that also goes for marijuana and other substances. But in this case, it sounded like it was maybe age-related, Alzheimer's. So the question to the chief would be, is there a mechanism? Is there a number to call? Is it the state of Michigan and a license plate number? If let's just say you're hitting a parking lot and it seems like that person might have Alzheimer's or is confused or something like that. Is there a phone number to call? Is there a way to see that that's looked into? Because that was the question they had for me, and I really didn't have a good answer.
So if the chief, if they do feel that, and they are hit, and let's just say it's easier, the private property makes this a little bit different. But let's just say this happened on a street, an individual hits, the cop reports to the scene, the individual looks like they are aging and potentially are dealing with Alzheimer's, stroke, or any of that. The officer can at that point make sure that they suspend their license until they're able to get looked at. We have done that into other individuals where they then have to go get recertified to be able to pass a driving test, whether it's vision, any of that kind of stuff, to the Secretary of State.
Okay, but on private property was,
Makes it a little bit more different because it's on private property. If an officer sees that, they still could report the individual for the secretary to get a test.
okay.
But private property does make the situations different.
Yeah, I thought it was a valid question, so that's why I asked it. Okay, well, that's all I had for the evening.
Thank you. Item 10, City Manager's Report.
No report.
Item 11 is audience participation. They have a 5-minute time limit to speak. Does anyone want to speak?
I sat
good.
through the whole thing.
All right, we have mayor's comments. Don't have any, so we'll have a motion to adjourn.
To adjourn. Support.
Moved by Mr. Karen, supported by Ms. Burgess to adjourn. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed. Good night. Thank you.